All right, let's go. Hi everyone, Julie's World Crochet here, and today I am back with a tutorial on how to make this really beautiful, absolutely luscious baby blanket. Let me lay this down so you can see. Doesn't that look lovely? This is the Little Waves stitch repeat, and I've added a really nice kind of lacy, almost Victorian border, and it just makes the most beautiful fabric. It's visually interesting. It's got a little bit of texture, but it's not too thick, and made into this baby blanket with a yarn. Can't you just see? Like, look how lovely that is. I'm so excited. I just love it. I'm here today. I'm going to show you how to make this blanket for yourself. This is a fantastic stitch that works up in all sizes. You can expand it as king size blankets down to baby blankets and coasters even. And I've seen it used for hats, scarves, of course, anything else you can imagine. It's really versatile and it's super easy. This is easier for me. It's one of my favorites for beginners and for myself as a very beginner because it's almost impossible to mess up. I'm going to show you in just a minute what I mean. In fact, I've already used this stitch once to make another baby blanket. I'll show it to you here. And that one I did with a Karen Cloud cake called Magenta Madness, and you can see how colorful it is. And that one just had a little picot border. I'm going to show you two different border options, plus you can vary it yourself because not everyone may be comfortable. I didn't find this too hard or anything to do, but you might be a little intimidated by getting your stitches right, and that's going to be fine. I have other options that I'm showing you at the end. I've got chapters set up so that if there's an area you don't want to need or you've made other decisions, go ahead and jump ahead to the part that you want to look at. But as it is, this pattern is super, super easy. You can adjust it to make any size you want. Here I've used a baby yarn. It's a beautiful light yellow. It was a sale yarn at Ice, so I don't think it's available anymore at all. I'm sorry, but you can use any yarn type. Pick it. And here I've used, like I said, a baby weight yarn with a 4mm hook. You can go ahead, using any yarn you want, go ahead and use the appropriate hook that goes with it. It's so versatile. Now, I want to show you too, before I get started, I want to take a minute and I'm going to show you, let me interrupt. I'm going to interrupt me. Hi there, Editing Julie. I'm just stepping in here because I wanted to take a minute before I show you how to set up this pattern. I'm really trying to encourage you why this is so beginner friendly. I love this stitch repeat and I want to tell you why it's much easier. If you read it written down, it'll be, you know, 2 double crochets, a chain 1, 2 double crochets, skip 2, front post double crochet 3 times, and it may seem like it's intimidating, and it's all about what it is you're going to be doing and how you have to think about it when you're doing the pattern, and that's why this one's easy. You can see this shell that I'm going to show you. This is 2 double crochets, a chain 1, and 2 more double crochets. And then here, when we have the 3, these are, the reason you get this kind of lifted, textured wave is because you're gonna do a front post double crochet on each of these. And I'm gonna show you how to do all of that. I'm not gonna take the time right now, but what I wanna show you is, I don't have to think about where I'm going. I have 3 posts right here for my 3 stitches. I don't have to worry about getting confused with other stitches. I am literally coming in post 1, post 2, post 3, and then I'm going to, my aim, I'm not count this stitch, does this count or no. I've got this nice little chain space, that is my target. I don't have to think about anything. You know what? If you make an error, let's say you forget to do this chain 1 I just did. That's going to be my next row's chain 1 space. Oh, what if I forgot it? Doesn't matter. I'm going to stick my hook in just like I had actually made that chain 1 space. It's never going to be noticed. Finally, when I get to the end, I'll do my 3. Well, actually, I've got my 3 posts here, but you only do the 2 as a front post, and then the last double crochet I'm just going to put into the end because I like it to be nice and straight. And that's the other thing. Before I go ahead and do the border, I want you to see that doing this, because of the way the posts are here, it is built in to give you a nice straight edge. This is just a beautiful stitch, and after you've set it up, you just almost can't even make an error. It is so beginner friendly, I promise you. It is so doable, and look how pretty it is. So we're gonna go ahead. I just wanted to stop in there because I just don't want you to be intimidated. It's so pretty, it may make you think that it's difficult or challenging, and it's really just not. So come along with me and give this a try. Okay, so now that we covered that and why it's so great as a pattern, I want to show you and get right to making it. You notice that at the beginning, ignore the border, I have my 3 bars. This is the stitch repeat, the 3 bars plus the shell stitch. At the very beginning, you start with 3 bars and the shell, and to keep it balanced and to make the symmetry, if I come across here, you can see I also finish with the 3 bars, right? So that would be the repeat, and I have 3 extra bars that I gotta put on. And that just matters when it comes to setting it up. The great thing about this, it is really just to set up. I'm gonna show you right now how to do that. But once you're set up, it is almost mindless to just work through and work it up. It'll happen so quickly. So to begin with, before I use that, I forgot I need to show you. I'm trying to use these charts. And the reason I wanted to, I have twofold. One, I actually, in some circumstances, I found it much easier to be able to consistently work a particular stitch and learn it from that. I found that easy. And more importantly, I see all kinds of interesting and cool kinds of stitches that there are no tutorials for. They're only in a chart. So I'm really trying to be comfortable working with the charts so that I can do some of those. And you know, as I master some or make projects, I'm going to be making tutorials and sharing them on here so that we can use them. But anyway, as I was saying, I wanted to show you here the stitch repeat for that, the 3 bars in the shell that I told you about is 8 stitches. So whatever you're chaining, you're going to chain a multiple of 8 stitches. And all that's going to happen here is we're doing the 3 double crochets, and they actually, for the repeats, they're going to be front posts, but I'm showing you that. Don't worry, it's not hard at all. And then we're going to put the shell in here. And the shell is 5 stitches. So right in the middle of these 5 stitches, my 3rd stitch, is where it's going to go. So I'll put my 3 bars in, skip 2, and that's where I'm going to put 2 double crochets and then a chain 1 and then 2 more double crochets, all in the same stitch. And as you can see, I have 5 stitches in this new row, so I will be using 5 stitches from my base row. That's how we keep the stitch balance. You're not gonna have to think about that. You just saw that video. You don't have to think about those stitch counts when you're actually doing it. But this is what it looks like. And the reason I wanna show you that is I showed you at the end of your blanket, of your row, rectangle, whatever panel you're making, you're going to start like the repeat does with your 3 bars, but you need to end with a portion of this because you need to put in the 3 bars at the end. So whatever our repeat is, like however many sets of 8 that you put on here, we will need to have 3 additional stitches that's going to account for making those. So our repeat is 8. Now I also need to, because we're working from a chain, you don't have to worry about it right now, but for our initial one, there's 3 there, so 3 and 3 is 6. So your initial chain to start up, you need 8 plus 6. Multiples of 8, and then put 6 extra chains on there, and that's how it's going to work out. Although, keep in mind, we are going to put a border around it. So if you're off by a stitch or 2, you will be able to mask that and no one would know. So you don't need to be overly upset or high-strung about any of it. But you do need to start with the 3 bars and end with the 3 bars in order to have this pattern work really beautifully the whole way. So you can see right now I'm using a worsted weight yarn and a 5mm hook. And you can see I started by already preparing a chain. This is 32 chains, so 4 times 8. I have 4 sets of 8 here, plus 6 extra, so a total of 38 chains to account for my repeat, my stitch repeat. So to begin with, you're going to, remember, this here is not a stitch. It's nothing to work at. This is your working loop. It's not a stitch and doesn't count. We're going to do double crochets, and we're going to begin in the 4th chain from the loop. And what we're actually doing, just so we know, this here, these 3 chains we need our hook to be at a working height for the row that we're creating. So this here, these 3 chains are going to act as our first stitch as a double crochet. That's those 3 stitches. So now we're going to do the 2nd double crochet. You yarn over, and it goes into 1, 2, 3. Actually, back bumps might be easier to see. There's 1, 2, 3 in the 4th chain from our hook is where we're going to work. So double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook, and pull out that loop. You've got 3 chains. You're going to yarn over and pull through 2 of them, and yarn over and pull through the final 2. You've completed that double crochet. So this 3 chains, this acts as your first double crochet, 2nd double crochet. You need to do 1 more double crochet. Yarn over, insert your hook into your stitch, yarn over and pull a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Now there are my 3. So the next part is to skip 2, and then in the 3rd chain, I'm going to put in 2 double crochets. So insert my stitch and pull a loop, yarn over through 2 twice, and now a 2nd double crochet, and that goes into the same loop. We're making our shell, and we're going to put all of these stitches in the same loop. So that's 2 double crochets, chain 1, do 2 more double crochets into that same loop. So yarn over and pull a loop through 2 and through 2, and then yarn over, pull a loop, and through 2 and through 2. So that completes our shell. 3 stitches. We've skipped 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 more double crochets to make the shell. And we're going to go immediately to making our next 3 posts. So now the one thing is, when you make a shell, sometimes this can get pulled, and this one stitch closest can get quite tiny if it gets pulled. Now it's going to relax out as it moves as you continue to work, but just keep in mind, don't skip that stitch. It's easy to do sometimes. Depends on your yarn, but just in case, keep an eye out for that. So I'm going to skip my 2, 1, 2, and I'm going to begin doing my double crochet posts here. So here's the first one, and double crochet number 2, and double crochet number 3. Now you see me working into the back bumps, but that's mostly habit and comfort level. Remember, again, we're putting in a border. It's actually not going to matter. You know, like we tend to do it so you get a nice little edging on the bottom, but you're not going to notice because you're going to put a border all the way around it. So it doesn't have the impact, and either way, you should do it any way you want, to be quite honest. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. So skip 2, and here my 3rd one is where I'm going to put my shell. So 2 double crochets, 1, 2, chain 1, and double crochets. All into the same stitch, the same chain from our foundation. There's my shell. All right, and I'm going to continue along. 1, 2, 3. I skip 2 and begin with my next post. And it's kind of nice that before and after it's always a skip 2. So I'm never, you know, I don't have anything I really have to think too hard on. And of course, once we're done this part, you're just golden. You're going to fly through it. So skip 2, next shell. I'm going to work along until I get to the end, and we'll show you the last few stitches. So as soon as I'm done that 4th shell down, I'm going to be back. And last double crochet for my shell. I have 4 for each of my repeats. And I have, here's the 2 stitches that I will skip from the shell that completes that. And that leaves me 3 stitches on the end. Perfect, because that is where I am putting my last 3 double crochet posts to finish my setup row. All right, so here we go. There we go. That's what that looks like. And if you'll notice, you don't see that distinctive wave in here. That's going to come with all of the other rows. Row 2 is the repeat that you will do for all of the remaining part of this. And you're over the worst hurdle of doing the pattern. You've got your setup. See how easy that was? It was great. Now, for the actual repeat row, I've done, sorry, did I do my turn? I did not do my turning chain. There we go. Here's my turning chain. So for the remainder, this here, here's my 3 posts. When you start off a row, all of your, these remaining posts, you're gonna get that wave effect because you are doing front post double crochets. Okay, so let me just get to the first part. First off, the first one of the row, you're not going to do that. You need to get yourself up to your working height. So I want you to crochet 3. Now the tendency, and depending on the pattern, I might work 2 double crochets for to take the place of, pardon me, 2 chains to take the place of my double crochet. But for this pattern, I find it works nicer and more fluid with the pattern to do the full 3. It makes a difference after, so it doesn't pull in. It gives you a much nicer lay of the fabric. But again, depending on your yarn, depending on your hook, you may like it the other way around. That's always a possibility. But I'm telling you, for me, I'm chaining 3. Now, this is going to be your first double crochet. See, it sits right on top, so you're not going to work that first stitch. You're going to work this next post against it. However, when you go into working the double crochet, typically you would go into the stitch here, and that's where you'd be working from. But we're not doing that. We're doing front post. And what front post means is we are going to work around this post of the stitch. And by front, we're going to go in from the front. So I'm doing a double crochet, so I'm going to yarn over first. I'm going to go in from the front and just underneath and poke out the other side. So there's the post. And I'm going to go there so I can grab my yarn and bring it over. And now I'm just going to complete it as a normal double crochet. Yarn over through 2, whoops, yarn over through 2, right? And you can see how that sits. So this is going to be my first post double crochet, but here's the post, right, wrapped around, and it sits in front. Now it doesn't look like it's got this little wave. That's going to happen on this side. By doing a front post here, it pushes this top stitch piece, it pushes it forward, kind of folds it over so it faces up. Now, it's not on this side, but what'll happen is when we come back the other way, we'll also be doing the front posts, and that's going to push these ones forward to face this side. And that's how it becomes the reversible pattern that we just love. So let me keep going, and we're going to get the deal of it. So another front post double crochet here, so yarn over. I'm going to go come in. You're coming in from the right side, going from the front, and then reaching around to grab your yarn. 3 loops on my hook, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. So that completes your initial one. So from now on all the way down until the end, you'll do a front post double crochet on each of these 3 posts as you come by. As soon as I'm done those, I've got my shell. I'm going to go in and to do the shell right into this chain 1 space. Right in the middle of your shell, that's where you're going to work from. Remember, it's the 5 stitches. You're going to do 2 double crochets, 1, 2, a chain 1, and then 2 more double crochets. End of shell. You're doing it all right into that chain 1 space. You don't have to count stitches at all here. You don't have to worry about getting the right stitch. I mean, I know I said that already, but I'm telling you again, it's just, that's what makes it so easy to work it out. So as soon as I'm done my shell, I can ignore everything else and go right to my 3 posts. I'm going to do my front post double crochet. Sorry, I've yarned over, come around the front, get my yarn, have my loop, so I'm going to go yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, second one, yarn over from the front around the post, grab the yarn, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, and then one more time. There we go. Now, when you first do this, you can see how it's kind of twisting in my hands. That's only because I've got hardly any fabric here created yet. As I come by and do it, this will entirely settle down. It's just the way it's going to sit, and it's not a problem. But don't get worried that you're going to be fussing with it. Do it through the whole thing. It's really just this row that can be kind of flippy around, but you're not going to make any mistakes because of it, so don't worry. So, shell next. Here are my shells. Here's the double crochet 1, 2, chain 1, 1, 2, or 3 and 4 if you're happier with that. It's all good, whatever you prefer. And now I have my posts, yarn over, 1. I'm going to work this along. I want you to see what we do at the end of the row. Just keep going along. Whatever you see below you, the next stitch tells you exactly what you need to do. Whoops. Do a double crochet though, and I'll see you at the end. Okay, so here is my last shell, like we saw, and all I have left are my 3 posts, 1, 2, and 3. This is that original chain 3 that becomes its own, acts as a double crochet, counts as a stitch. So I'm going to now do the first 2 as the front post double crochet that we're supposed to with the pattern. Here's the second one. Oops. Let me get this yarn. I don't know why it's fighting me. All right. And at the end, don't lose this chain that's sitting here. This is my 3rd one. I don't do the front post on the last chain of the row because I really like that nice clean edge, and I don't like it kind of bouncing. I have seen people do it, but instead just do a straight up double crochet in this top loop of your, oops, hold on. I want it to be through both. And sometimes it can take a second, come on, to grab both there. I want it to be in this, seriously, there we go. The top loop of this chain. Now, it's going to square out even more as we come around with our border, but I want to have a nice clean line all the way through. So I'll do a double crochet. Instead of doing it front post, I'm going to grab it from the stitch. And I'm going to do that all the way. That is your repeat. You do it exactly that way every time you turn. So let me turn so you can see where we had done the, right? You don't see that little wave here yet. You see it here because this is where we had done all of the front posts. When I come in, I'm going to just start up row 3. So chain 1, 2, 3. And remember, we don't work this first stitch because this is a stitch. This is going to act as my first post. So here's my front post around this number 2 here. Front post double crochet, and then front post double crochet. I'm going to go ahead and do the shell, and then I can show you what I'm talking about. 1, 2 double crochets, chain 1, double crochet, and 4 double crochets. Okay, so here we have, this is from the front posting we did on the other side. This is why we have this wave. I just want to show you that now that we're working in this direction, here's where our front post is, and this is where we're getting this wave. And that's why it's reversible. So you don't have to make any adjustments. All you have to do is do the same thing all the way through. Don't worry about counting stitches. Wherever you see your set of 3, you're doing front post double crochets and then finding your chain 1 space to do your shell. It's that straightforward. So I'm going to keep working this up, and I'm going to come back again when I'm ready. I've got a swatch that I can show you how to do the 2 different kinds of borders that you want. And once again, if you like the content, if you're enjoying the work, please give me a like, give me a subscribe. I'd love to. That'll keep me in and around. It'll let me know that I should be making more content. I'll see you very soon. All right, everybody, and we're back. So now I have done several rows of the stitch repeat. Look how great that looks, right? On both sides, this is just lovely. So easy to work up. Double crochet is pretty much all the way. So when you come to do a border, I just want to say, I really like to, before I add a border, I really like to go around and clean up the edges and use a single crochet usually, just to give me a nice clean edge of stitches to work with, to work into my border. So I'm going to go around, I'm going to turn my work here, and I'm just going to come around, and in every stitch, and now it's easy on the top, I'm going to put in a single crochet. So just come along with me for that. Okay, I've single crocheted across the top, and remember you get kind of a wave on the top and bottom of your wave stitch, and this will kind of straighten it out a little bit, but it'll happen even more so when we put a border on. If you just leave it with a single crochet over top, you'll still end up with a little bit of that scallop kind of look. When you get to the sides, first off, I'm coming around, I'm going to start getting set up for my border. So this is my last stitch in the corner. With the single crochets, for your corner stitch, I have 1 in here. You want to put in 3 stitches, 3 single crochets into that corner, so that you have enough yarn to come around. And this sets you up for when you continue to come with your rest of your border, if that's what you want to do. Now on the sides, you don't have those specific stitches to work into, and that's fine. It's wherever you choose to be, right? This is one of the reasons I come around, so that I have like defined stitches that I can work into. But where you create those is wherever you decide to be. Remember this here, from 1 to about halfway, this is 1 row. It's got a double crochet, probably 2 stitches worth per one of those, like double crochet for the rows. It's about what you want to be, but it's whatever you feel is right and whatever's going to sit well. You don't want to put in too many stitches, like don't try and cram a whole bunch in there. You'll have too much yarn and it'll ruffle too much. And similarly, if you just put like really skip over, it'll be stretching and pulling really hard and won't sit well either. So you'll get a feel for it. This is the point where you can just go in and put in your single crochets. So I'll put 1 in right here. Just try not to grab too much yarn when you do it, and I'll skip over to this one here. See, that's good. I'll do one more right up here. I'll go through this one and then reach over here, right? So I'm going to continue along, just putting in my single crochets in a kind of nice, reasonable distance from each other, so that I can, there we go, a little more yarn here. Do this right here. It's straightforward enough, and again, there isn't a right or wrong. It's going to be whatever you decide works for your design, your project, right? And I'm just going to do these 2 rows because I'm going to work backwards to show you how to do these various borders. Okay, so I'll do 1 here, and here is my last corner, so I'm going to work that same corner pattern, right? Let me just grab 2. That's 3 stitches. When it's single crochet, you're going to do 3 stitches in that corner stitch. Just like that, so it can come around the corner like that. There you go, really, really nice. See, and this would be fine if you wanted to leave that where it is, you could. There's nothing wrong with it. It's, of course, whatever works for you. But now I have a stitch count to work with. What I want to show you on this, okay, so I had, let me just, sorry, I gotta grab my little thingy here. I had for this, I think this is really lovely. I love this kind of lacy, almost Victorian, delicate effect that this border brings. Now, if I was doing this again, you can see that's where my single crochets were. You know what I would probably do is I think I would put 1 or 2 rows of half double crochets afterwards. So after I did this, I would go around 1 or 2 more times of half double crochets, just so I can have kind of a little bit of a flat transition border until I got to the frill, just to give it a little more, I don't know, maybe substance of the border. Personally, that's probably what I'm going to do the next time I make this. I told you I'm going to make it again. I think that's what I'm going to try. I like this fine, don't get me wrong, but you know, when you do something, you see things you might want to do differently. That's probably what I would do, but this is okay. And I'm going to show you a couple of differences also for how you make it. My point behind this one is that I only ever saw this border used for granny squares. I've seen it 2 or 3 times from different creators, but it's always for granny squares, and they have a very specific stitch count around that they're working with. And I can't help you there on that. That's not how I'm going to do it, because when you have, especially a big project, you don't necessarily know that you're going to get the right stitch count going along, depending on what size you make. So you need to find a way to make it work. Now, if you don't want to fuss with that, I recommend a bobble stitch. This is what, now I did the picot, which was simply going along. I did chain 1s, and then I did every 4th stitch, I did a little picot, which is just chain 3 and back into the same stitch and continue on. So that's for, again, if you take a look at the colorful one I did, that has that little picot edge that makes it kind of festive and fun. What I really like as well, and I haven't tried it with this little waves, but I've used it on other crochet borders for child's Afghans, is I know it has the little ridges. It's not quite a bobble or anything like that, but it's super easy to do. Oh, wrong way. It's a chain 2 repeat. That's what I was missing. I'm going to come, actually, you know what? I've got the same. Let me come back up on the side for a second. 1. This is my corner, so I have to put 3 in the corner, right? Okay, so that's just my 3 in the corner. I'm just going to come along and show you what this would look like. There's a 2 stitch repeat that makes what's called a little ridges. It gives it a nice kind of bobbly, fluffy kind of look without being difficult. And like I said, it's a 2 chain repeat. So the reason that works really well is you don't really have to fuss very hard about how you are coming across. Or how many stitches you've put in anywhere on your project. And all you're going to do is you're going to come in and do a double crochet, like so, and then immediately after is a slip stitch, right? So you've got this tall stitch and then really flat, the shortest stitch you could possibly do. And again, a double crochet, and then a slip stitch. I'm going to do a couple here so you can see how this looks. Double crochet, and then a slip stitch. You can keep going along. Maybe I'll do 1 or 2 more for you. Oops. And a slip stitch. Okay, so now there is a front and back to this border. So you can see here it just looks flat. It looks fine, but it's kind of flat looking. But on the other side, it gives it kind of a very fun bobbly, and it still has this curved edging right here. I don't know if you can see that, how well that looks, but it's just without being a heavy full bobble, which I don't tend to like unless it really goes with my pattern. So I like the curvy, you know, funness of this, I like that it's only a 2-stitch repeat. You don't even have to repeat 2 really. If you get to the end on your last stitch, you've done a double crochet, put your slip stitch right into the same stitch and finish it. Like if that's the end, that you're fine. So you're just continuously repeating this very tall stitch and the shortest stitch possible, slip stitch. I'm sure if you wanted to, you could do a triple crochet. You know, if you wanted it to be taller or kind of a more bloopy round bobble there. Double crochet and slip stitch. We'll take a look at it again now. Here's my slip stitch. Again, see? So this will work fine for the border because when you go around, you're only going around the one time. This is the last stitch. If you want to put in some distance between this and your border, do a couple rows of single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, whatever it is you want to put in, and then finish with this combination. And you'll get this nice little kind of roundish, soft kind of edging. It's really easy to do, and you don't have to worry about issues with stitch counts. And I say that, I'm going to take this out right now. I say that because to do, and again, it's not terrible. To do this one, you do have to think about stitch counts a little more. You don't have to worry that hard. Let me tell you, when you're doing a border, this is the last thing you do. I don't have to worry about the number of stitches I have around this end because I'm not working further on this. This is the last thing. I don't have to worry about the counts. I really don't. But I do want it to be somewhat even and somewhat controlled. So let me tell you that the repeat for this is a repeat of 8. You'll do them in groups of 8 all the way along down. And when you get to your corner, actually, I'll show you what that repeat is. I've kind of drawn it here, and I know that seems terrible, but this is a single crochet. Here's my 8 stitches. You have a single crochet, and kind of like you were doing these shells here, this is a triple crochet shell. So, and it has 5. And what you are doing for this, where's my marker? What you're doing for this repeat, okay, of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's my 8 stitches, right? This is the next stitch down. I'm going to start that repeat is a single crochet, right? So I'm anchored at the on my main level. And I skip 3 because it's triple crochets. If it's double crochets, you skip 2. It's triple crochets, so I skip 3. So here's the middle stitch for that, right? So this is where I'm working into. I'm going to do a triple crochet, right? That's my triple crochet. And then I chain 1 and do another triple crochet. Chain 1, triple crochet, chain 1, chain 1. So this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 arms for this shell, and there is a chain 1 in between every one of those arms. And when I get to this last one, I just bring it to the last stitch. Whoops, yeah. Wrong? There we go. Skip 3, my shell, skip 3, pardon me for my, and into my last one. So that's how I'll perform it. But this single one here is the same as this. This starts the next repeat. So that's why it's only 8 stitches. Every repeat starts with my single crochet, does the shell, and I have this like last arm. This is where my crochet hook is, ready to go. Here, wait, let me, that's the crochet hook. So it's on this part right here. It doesn't go in. You're not doing a stitch here, but you're accounting for it because 3 and then the 3, right? When I work, I will begin my next repeat with that single crochet here at the last stitch, after 3, the 4th one from my shell. Yeah, that feels like really terrible, but that's what I'm trying to show you here as well. And the reason I wanted to show you is, remember, these have a single crochet or chain one in between each one, so that when we come around to make this really nice pointy bit and finish the edge, we're going to work into the chain spaces as well as the stitches. That's why it's there. Don't worry about having to count them. I'm going to show you right now why that works. Last but not least, I want to show you that the corner is a little bit different. So if I have my repeats of 8, when you get to the corner, each repeat of 8 has the 5 arms, right? Oh, there's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for its shell, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for its shell. This corner has 7, and it has it right in the corner. Let me just grab this corner up here. Let me see, that'd be easier. So it has 7, and they're all in this corner stitch right here. So remember, I told you your repeat starts with a single crochet. That's what this one is here. You only skip 2 and then work your shell into this corner and then skip 2 again. Now, this will start my new repeat. That's where that single crochet will go. So I'll have 2 skipped, work this, 2 skipped. But I start my repeat with that single crochet. And I'm only saying that because when you come along, if you're working this, if you don't have the right number of stitches, right, you just need it to be close. I told you, you're going to work an edging around that's going to create this really pretty finish and give you your point. You don't have to really worry too much about specific counts so much as you want it to be specifically balanced. And I know this because I made an error or two on here. I'm going to have to see if I can find it. But, for instance, I did this one here, for instance. So when I came to this edge, I actually didn't have, like, I worked my way all the way up. I was going in this direction. When I came up, this number here wasn't quite right, but that's okay. I worked back a little bit, and all I decided to do is I only skipped 2 stitches instead of 3. Oh no, I did skip 3. This isn't the one. Pardon me. There's somewhere in here. This is what I mean. You can't even tell. That's 3. That's 3. Nope, not that corner. You can't even tell. Oh, here we go. This is it. So you hardly tell. Let's see if we can see here. I don't know if you can see this here, but for this one, because I didn't have quite as many stitches, I just pulled this up. When I did this, I only skipped 2 so that I could only skip 2. So I could only skip 2. So this one here is in a shorter space than all of the rest, and you can hardly tell. And I actually kind of like it a little better. Remember, our stitch counts are not going to matter after this point. So if you like it, now, if you have a little more yarn, if you make it kind of more short this way, it will have a tendency to kind of possibly kind of gather up a little bit because that is more yarn than for the space. But I don't hate it. You know, I don't hate it. So if that works for you, that's fine. I think that is the only difficult thing about this is you may work yourself up and find that you're just at a count you can't make work. You know, if you have, say, 6 stitches or, you know, where you're just looking for the middle, skip the same number on each side, work your shell into that middle one, and then put your single crochet in the 2 from the end or 3 from the end. So you've got 2 stitches there. Work your shell and you're good to go on the rest. If you find that you're just at a really weird number that you can't make work, like I can make anywhere from 6 to 9 work, no problem, and absorb that in without a problem. But say it's 4. Work your way back. You know, you'll have to frog a little bit and then choose a kind of a different set. Maybe you decide you're only going to do between 2. To make that work when it comes up. I will say you have to fuss that just a little bit, but you can adjust whatever you need. I think that's easier than guaranteeing for sure. Like I did count rows and I kind of got it about the same, but you just can't guarantee for sure, or you can be extra careful and then guarantee for sure when you come around with that single crochet row, you can always make sure you take a good count and try and space it in such a way, like I said, so that you will have multiples of 8, but you will need 4 here, including the corner, and you will need on this corner here, when you come off, that's your corner piece for instance, 3. So you will have 3 on one side, multiples of 8, and 4 over here. That will be how the repeat goes, because this corner is going to come around like this, right? This is your single crochet. And remember, the repeat doesn't include the next single crochet. That starts over here. So 3 on one side, 4 on the other will get you exactly what you need with multiples of 8 in between. That's totally fine if you want to do that. I'm just saying it's not really necessary. Like I don't feel that you have to. You can still make really beautiful piece without that. I'm going to show you why. So here is this here. What have I done? I'm coming this way. Okay. So I'm just going to come this way and pretend we've done this all along. So here's a single crochet. Oh, and the other thing I was going to say, if you aren't sure about your numbers and you start working across and it's not working for you, or you want to make it just so, you might single crochet around and then count your stitches and the numbers aren't good and you want to add a few more, go around and do a single crochet again. Remember, at every corner, you are going to do 3 single crochets in the corner. And my point behind that is that means that for every row you do of single crochets, you will add 2. You'll have 1 from this corner and 1 from this corner that will increase the stitch count of this row. I know it's in the corner, but it's still going to increase the stitch count. You're adding 1 on each side, like each corner, whatever, 1 each on each end of your side, every time you go around. So if you really want to, go around again. You know, if you are counting really carefully, that is one way to adjust where you need to be so that you can increase or decrease your single crochet stitches that finish your edge before you start adding this really nice border. So those are all options. When I was doing this one, I went around with my single crochets. I kind of intended to maybe do some half doubles or not, and I counted my stitches and I thought, well, I'm pretty close. I'm just gonna do it now. I was impatient. That's what happened. So here we go. This is how easy it is. You're gonna start, remember, I'll just stick this really ugly one right here, but if it helps, it helps, right? Here's my single crochet. That's where I'm at right now. So I'm going to triple crochet. A triple crochet has 1 additional leg from the double. That means you're going to yarn over twice. I'm going to skip 1, 2, 3. And in my 4th stitch, I'm going to pull a loop. I have 4 loops on my hook now. I'm going to yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. That is a triple crochet. It's just longer. Here's my chain 1, and then I'm going to do another triple crochet into the same loop. Yarn over twice. Pull my loop. I'm going to yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Chain 1. I'm going to do this 2 more times. So yarn over twice, insert my hook and pull a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, and through 2. Chain 1. Twice, insert into the same, we're making a shell, it's into the same stitch, pull through my yarn. All right, so I have 4 now that I have put in. There's my shell, 1, 2, 3, 4. I've done a triple crochet and then a chain 1 all the way through. These chain 1s are in between the spokes of this shell. So for my last triple crochet, I'm going to insert my hook, do my pull through 2, my triple crochet, but there is no chain 1. I go directly to starting my next repeat. Here's my single crochet, here's my shell. I'm going to skip 1, 2, 3. Here is my 4th stitch. I'm going to start my next repeat, which is single crochet. Whoops, single crochet right there. Okay, so that is the completed repeat plus the first single crochet that starts my next repeat. And you just go along and complete that all the way through. So that's that single crochet, triple crochet, 1, 2, 3, into my 4th stitch. Okay, like so. Get myself some more yarn. Chain 1, triple crochet, insert and pull a loop, 4 loops on my hook, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. We do that 3 times, hence triple crochet. Here's chain 1. I'm just going to finish this shell. Chain 1, my 4th triple crochet, chain 1, and my final triple crochet. Okay, so where are we at? We're not doing bad here. So I've got 1, 2, 3. Now I need, this will work fine. Here's an example. I'm coming to the end. For the corner, I'm going to work my shell in this corner. I need to skip 2 according to the pattern. And then here is my first, let me pull this up. I need to skip 2 according to the pattern. There's my corner. And my beginning of this corner motif starts with my single crochet at the beginning. This works out fine. I've got exactly the number I need because I've got 1, 2, 3 that I skip. Here's my single crochet, and I'll have my 2 and then my corner. It's exactly what I'm seeing here. Let's say I only had 2 stitches there, not 3. I might just be fine with it. Go ahead and jump in. Or I might, depending on what I have 2 here, it will still work. Your eye is not going to notice it. Someone who sits and counts and examines it, yeah, okay. But really, it's virtually impossible to see. So when you're coming up to it, take a look, see how it's going to play out. You will be able to make it work. I totally have faith in you. So 1, 2, 3, I miss. Here is my single crochet. Now I'm going to skip my 2, and I'm working into this final corner stitch right there. So here's my first triple crochet. Remember, you're doing 7 here, but just like with all of the other repeats, all of the other shells, you have a chain 1 right between, I think I did the chain 1, yeah I did, a chain 1 between each one of the arms. So yarn over twice, insert my hook, get my loop, yarn over through 2, 3 times, chain 1, another triple crochet. Oh no, look, I did a double. Try that again. Yarn over twice. There we go. Triple crochet, chain 1. Triple crochet, chain 1. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 legs of this shell going. All right, 2 more, so here's 6. Chain 1, and here is 7. All right, so, and just like in the pattern, skip 2 and put my single crochet. That single crochet is the start of the rest of your row. So single crochet, and then I would start my shell in that 4th stitch, and I would continue along. And I would have a whole edge of these shells going around. And I told you, I've learned my lesson. You can adjust this. Again, you are not in any way going to continue working this with any kind of stitch count or have to fuss. This is the end of the border that you do. You are fine. I'm going to turn this around because I just want to work back and show you how you make this really edging, pretty pointy detail. So if you like it like this, if you like them round, you could stop there. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what I love about crochet. It's what you design and what you want to do. But what's going to happen is once you come all the way around for your final row, let me just do a turning chain so it sits better. For your final row, you are going to work a single crochet into every stitch and every chain space, except this middle. So let me show you how. It's just a single crochet into every stitch. There's 1. Here's my double crochet, so single, and the chain space. Remember, I have a chain 1 here. Instead of working into the actual stitch, I just work into the chain space. It works into a nicer kind of final pattern. And remember, don't lose it. Don't let this cover up. There's a stitch right there. Make sure you grab them all. So you should have the chain space and then the stitch and the chain space, whoops, the chain space and the stitch. Now, when I come to, whoops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is my 4th. This is the middle one. When I'm working on the 5 ones, we're working with the 3, whatever's the middle one. This is where we create our point. You've single crocheted into that stitch. You chain 3, and then bring in and single crochet back into that same stitch. Okay, and that's what's going to make that really nice point. You can just continue on from there with your single crochets. So did that here, the chain space. Wait till I come around and you will see what it looks like. Chain space, stitch, chain space, stitch. Okay, so I should say, oops, that's what I'm doing wrong. Nope, chain space, yeah. Stitch. Okay, when I come around for the stitch for this, this is the stitch that goes with it. When I come around, this here we're not going to work into. What I'm doing and what I find works the best, you're supposed to work into this stitch, and I don't like it. It leaves this one little thing gapey, and I don't like it. So I just go through the chain space and come around and give it the single crochet, and you want to skip working into this stitch. Go right across it and just work into the space and do this. And the reason you do that is if you tried to put another stitch in here, excuse me, if you try to put another stitch in here, it ends up quite bulky at this corner and you lose some of the shape. So just work the chain space and reach right across to work the next chain space. And then here is my stitch, chain space, let me find it. There we go. Stitch and keep going all the way along just like that. Chain space, stitch. And keep going all the way along until you get to your middle one again, just like I did. Actually, I'll put the, here's my point. 1, 2, 3. It's like a little picot. Put this in. Do your single crochet again into the same stitch and continue along so you can finish your little shell trim. I call it I guess it looks like trimming to me. Let me just take that over so you can see how this makes a really lovely end, and it gives a nice finish. Excuse me, it gives a really nice finish to it all the way around. That's how simple it is. Keep in mind, you don't have to worry about your stitch counts. What if you come along, again, like I said, what if you come along and you've missed one of your chain ones here? If that's the case, don't put in extra stitches. You don't have to worry about stitch count, right? We're not going to continue working. We care about what the final look looks like. If you're trying to cram in a whole bunch of extra stitches so the number is correct, you may end up with some bunching and gathering, and you don't want that. So go ahead and just worry about making sure you've put your point on the middle of each shell, because I missed that before. And let me tell you, if you get it on the wrong arm, you'll notice it. I did that once. Had to go back like 4 or 5 stitches. I don't know how I did it, but it happens. And you'll also notice if you don't put it on, if you don't like it and don't want it pointy, just go around and finish it with this edge. You don't have to put in this 3 stitch, and it'll be just nice and round and nicely finished. This is a finishing process. So I'm less worried about stitch counts than I am about balance and having it sit and lay really pretty. But isn't that lovely? I know you can do this. It's super easy. And like I said, if you're a little intimidated about doing this kind of border, I mean, I'm sorry, I've never seen this kind of border attached to this particular kind of blanket, or at all. So I'm not sure how to do it. other than when I'm following a specific pattern where they set up for me how many stitches to start with. And I'm not going to do that. You know me. I almost never follow a pattern because I'm making it up as I go along. But I think it turned out lovely. Any little variations that I had to put in to make adjustments, you can't even notice. It works fine. And look, it just looks so pretty, so delicate. Can you just imagine a sweet little baby nestled up, sleeping beautifully in this gorgeous, gorgeous blanket? You can do it too. And whatever you choose to do, whatever you make, I would so love to see what you're doing. I would love to see how you come out with it. I think it comes so different in so many ways that I'm so interested to see what your creativity and what you design with this great stitch. Again, you know, I hope you like this. Give me a like, give me a subscribe. Please let me know in comments what worked for you, what didn't. And I will see you again soon. Have a great time. Bye.